Mm, these nachos are good. But you guys want to know what these nachos and some certain groups of sports fans have in common? They're all covered with salt. And oh, don't forget about the cheese, because boy oh boy do we have a plate full of sports to devour. Although, there is one big difference. I got the chips, and they don't. Man. Andrew and I are back at it again, and we're dishing out episode 14 of Top of the Standings. But first, a word from our amazing sponsor, Anchor. Anchor is a completely free and easy to use platform for podcasting. A computer or even a mobile device with a functional internal or external microphone is all you need to start recording your podcast with Anchor. When you do finish recording your podcast audio, you can simply edit it and upload it to the biggest podcasting platforms like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and more. If you were like me and you didn't have the foggiest clue on how to start a podcast, then Anchor is the perfect place to start. For more information, go to anchor.fm on the web or download the Anchor app on your mobile device. Oh boy, Drew, that was too close for comfort, but we were both right about the Tampa Bay Rays going to the World Series.
Hey, my World Series prediction is still up in the air. I mean, hey, I predicted the Dodgers. All they need to do is win tonight, and then I got it perfect. For the World Series. Other than that, it's kind of been shaky.
Yeah, you that's gonna be your highlight of the prediction postseason.
Hey, that was, like you said, too close for comfort. I didn't think the Rays were gonna pull that one out. Usually, when you see a team come back that far, usually it ends with a happy ending. This time, far from that disappointing end
And
for the Astros.
yeah, it was funny too because as soon as the Astros lost, you knew people were gonna spaz on the Astros for that. I'm just sitting here waiting for the memes, waiting for the trash talk, literally waiting for all of the Astros haters to go full force on the Astros bandwagons and the fans. And I'm just like, man, this was so monumental because, dude, let's be real. Let's go through it again. The Rays almost blew a 3-0 lead. And the first three wins, dude, it was like two completely different series. It's like, it was so weird because it was like the first three games, the Astros completely shot themselves in the foot. Could not score a run with runners in scoring position. Had so many chances, left so many runners on base. I believe they left like 31 runners on base through the first three games. That was like a whole different series, man.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed, especially last night, we saw the Rays come out firing. We saw their offense was already from the beginning already hot. And what we saw on their 3-game losing streak was that didn't happen. They did not start off hot. It was the Astros who started off hot. And that was really the key to the series. Whoever really started off hot and got their offense going early were the winners eventually. But like I was confident with the Rays going into this game. I mean, I saw Lance McCullers Jr. I saw him on the mound. I was like, okay. In my opinion, he has kind of struggled this postseason. I was like, okay, the Rays. I think if they start off early, they can win this game, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and you want to know who started that party? Oh, same guy that just came out of nowhere and just absolutely dominated everybody throughout the entire American League playoffs. Randy Arozarena. What did I say going into the ALCS? This dude, the emergence of this man, he is putting the Tampa Bay Rays on his back, literally.
MVP, MVP. Yeah, he 100% deserved that. I was so impressed. He broke the record for most home runs hit in a postseason by a rookie, breaking his teammate Kevin Kiermaier's record with 7. That is impressive. That is very impressive. The Rays, that was a close one. That was I'm going to be honest with you. I was not happy when they blew that 3-0, and I was not confident going into Game 7. But look where we are now.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was like a tale of two series. It was like oh yeah, you're gonna get swept. You're gonna get swept. And then when Carlos Correa hit that walk off in Game 5, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I had a bad feeling, bro. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but one thing I gotta say, I really do respect what the Astros did. I mean,
Yeah,
coming off of the cheating scandal and hiring a new manager, a GM, and all of their players just having to get over the adversity, especially Dusty Baker, who has I would he hasn't been great in the playoffs in his career. This was his first game 7 in like 17 years or something,
Hmm.
um, which was impressive because they were a team under 500 heading into the postseason, and for them to take it that far, I gotta give credit to them.
Yeah, obviously you got to give the Astros credit too, man. Because no, I mean, look, dude, they're the only under 500 team in the American League postseason. Nobody expected them to beat the Twins. Nobody, nobody picked them to beat the Athletics. And it was just like, whoa, these guys are really making a run for it. They better watch out. And then it was like such a climactic like superhero story. I made the comparison last week when I said like Superman versus Lex Luthor. Well, in this case, Superman, well, he won the first 3 games. Then the Kryptonite got him for the last 3 games, and then somebody called a Rosa Reina basically destroyed the Kryptonite, and they won one more game after that, and out was Lex Luthor, the Astros, and it was just I knew I had the right to make that comparison because like I said, everybody was rooting for the Rays, and everybody wanted to see the Astros lose, and it was just like, oh man, this is a classic good team versus evil team story.
Yeah, that was very just it was a great series, honestly, as much as it was almost painful at sometimes to watch because one team that you were rooting for would be up big and then the other team would come back. It was a good series though. It was exciting. It had all everything that you could want in a series, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the result, obviously, and I'm looking forward to watching the Rays in the World Series again. I feel bad for the city of Tampa Bay. Have had 2 teams go to the championship with neither actually playing a game in Tampa Bay, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, that sucks. I know Tampa would have been busting, man.
Dude,
Tampa's a pretty
yeah,
good sports city right now.
yeah, it is. I mean, Florida. Look at that sports state right now. They had Miami Heat. They had them go in the finals. They had the Marlins in the playoffs. They had the Rays in the playoffs. Now in the World Series. They had the Lightning in the Stanley Cup, and they have the Bucks as I wouldn't say a front runner right now, but one of a top team to make the Super Bowl this year. So Florida has sports going for them right now.
Yes, they do. And you know what? I very well will look forward to seeing the Rays in the World Series. But you know what, Drew? Their opponent is still to be determined. You want to know why? Because there's a game 7 tonight. Oh boy, I don't know why, but you just felt it coming. I don't know why, but I just felt it coming.
Yeah, you knew the Dodgers were not going to get swept. There was no chance of them. I mean, they are the best team in baseball. I still think even since they have been a little bit I wouldn't say bad, but they have struggled a little bit in these playoffs. They haven't really shown their true selves. I think right now is if you're a Braves fan, you should be very nervous because you allowed the Dodgers to come all the way back, and you've seen the weapons on their team. You've seen the defense. You've seen the offense. You've seen the pitching. It's all going for the Dodgers right now. And this game 7, it I honestly think we will see if the Dodgers will win the World Series because if the Dodgers look good, it's going to be tough to beat them, especially coming off of this momentum if they win.
Yes, and the thing about the last 2 games in Game 5 and Game 6, the Dodgers beat them in 2 different ways. The Dodgers won Game 5 with their offense, but they won Game 6 with their pitching. The Braves only scored 1 run in Game 6. One. That offense only scored 1 run after putting up a 10 spot in Game 4. So that was a big, series shifter. And the Braves bats, they had better wake up for one last game because I mean you don't want to have to hit the panic button. But if you're trailing in this Game 7, it's time. It'll be time to hit the panic button. But Ian Anderson is back on the mound, and he had a really, really outstanding Game 2. But Game 2 is not Game 7, and he is still a rookie. So, I mean, hopefully the nerves don't get to him because, obviously I picked the Braves to, win this series, and it's gonna go the distance. It is going the distance, and the Dodgers are still undecided on who's gonna start the game. I mean, you already exhausted Walker Bueller twice. Are you gonna put Kershaw back out there? That'd be tough, but um, obviously their bullpen has done a lot. They've done a lot to preserve those last two games. It'll be very interesting to see how Dave Roberts manages that bullpen. But then again, it's Dave Roberts managing a bullpen. So there's a reason why they haven't won a World Series the past 3 years. It's
It's
probably
really tough. It's
yeah,
really tough because their bullpen is very inconsistent. You could either get the good or bad Kenley Jansen on any given night. It's up in the air. But unfortunately for the Braves, you have gotten the really good Kenley Jansen these past few games. And yeah, you could even get Joe Kelly if Kenley Jansen struggles, which again, I don't know if Dodgers fans would want Joe Kelly closing the game after that close call against the Padres, but uh, the bullpen will be huge. If Kenley pitches as he has these past few games, it's going to be tough for the Braves.
yeah, and it really all depends on who starts for the Dodgers because
Yeah,
I feel like Ian Anderson, he'll give up a couple of runs, but he'll give a good 6, maybe 7 if things play out right and the pitch count is not as high in the first 3 innings. Um, but the Dodgers bats, they haven't exactly awakened yet. But in Game 6, they took a minor step back because they scored 3 runs in the first inning, and that was it. But yeah, and obviously, I don't think that's going to work out in Game 7 again. So
no.
these teams with their offenses, they had better wake up because their season's on the line right there and then. And because it is Sunday and this Game 7 is tonight, we are going to have to do a separate World Series special prediction because the freaking Braves couldn't close it out. Um, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. Should be a really good World Series though, Drew.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And like you said about the Dodgers offense, it's funny because their offense is not bad. This is like equivalent to the Detroit Tigers offense this year. Like right now, how they are playing is equivalent to a bad team, which is kind of crazy. Just imagine what their offense will look like if they get full circle and they're 100%. This offense is dangerous. It should be a very exciting Game 7. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a similar naming World Series Braves Rays or Rays Dodgers. Hey, I wouldn't be mad at whoever wins. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of pulling for the Braves, but I did pick the Dodgers. I kind of feel bad for the Dodgers, but I guess we'll have to see tomorrow.
Somebody's
We will predict.
yeah, somebody's gonna be real disappointed. But speaking of disappointing, oh boy, I'm kind of disappointed in the Tar Heels, man. Um, it was a crazy week of college football, but when North Carolina lost to Florida State last night, I was heartbroken. They dropped those last 3 passes, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness, no, that's not how it was supposed to end."
See, I still we've talked about North Carolina football a lot on top of the standings, but I still question people who actually think North Carolina is good. Okay, sure, maybe they were ranked in the top 5. Okay, but this is North Carolina after all. Did you really expect them to go far this year?
No, I mean, I definitely did not expect them to run the table, but I wanted to see it. I was here for it, man. I wanted to see them, rise out of the shadows because they have a big game against Notre Dame in November, and I want to see them win that. But I just don't know. I don't know. I really wanted to see North Carolina win. Oh.
Dude, yeah, I mean, again, I never took North Carolina seriously because again, we don't have the Pac-12 or the Big Ten. Once those teams, meaning Big Ten coming back next week and the Pac-12 coming back in early November, I will be very interested in seeing how teams like North Carolina and maybe even Coastal Carolina,
Yeah.
come up and fit into the top 25 because hey, there's no Big Ten, there's no Pac-12. This is a different year.
Yeah, it was definite. That top 25 was definitely looking weirder. In the earlier weeks, we were talking about Army in the top 25.
Iowa State,
Iowa State. You know what I'm saying? It
Raging Cajuns.
it's gotten weird. Although they're going to be out in the rankings.
Yeah,
And it's been just a crazy week of college football overall. SMU got a clutch overtime win. You know what I'm saying? BYU is proven to, trying to prove to the country, hey, we are actually legitimately a football team, and that can contend for, you know, the college football playoff. And then Texas A&M got another dub on the win column, so they most likely will be moving into the top 10. And I expect Georgia to drop. I expect Georgia to drop maybe to like 8 because I mean, they were leading. They were leading at halftime, but then they got outscored 21-0 in the second half, and I was just like, "Yep, typical Alabama. Typical
yep.
Alabama."
Hey, after Alabama scored that late touchdown in the third, I was like, "Yep, that's game over." Once they take the lead, they're not going to step off the gas pedal. Game over.
Yeah, the dogs put up they put up a good fight. It was a good back and forth first half, but then that offense they just got stagnant in the
Yeah.
second half. That
That's
was
exactly what you expect out of a Georgia Alabama game.
yeah,
Usually, you're not going to see a Georgia upset, and most of the time, you're going to see Alabama pull away late.
yep, that's exactly what we expected. But I do want to point out something because this was very overshadowed by the rest of the college football games. I want to talk about Louisville Notre Dame because this upset, if you even want to call it that, almost happened. It felt weird looking at the Notre Dame, fourth ranked Notre Dame, only won 12-7.
12-7. Wow. Uh, I honestly, I had no idea, and I literally, you just telling me that right now is kind of crazy because I obviously was not interested in the game. Neither team interests me, but 12-7. That that's weird. I honestly I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and Louisville had the lead in the second half. It was 7-6. We're talking about some baseball score type stuff, but I mean, it was weird. It was definitely weird. Only two touchdowns in the game. It was 6-0 at halftime. Ian Book, the quarterback from Notre Dame, only threw for 106 yards. So the game, uh, I don't know how to describe it. It was just weird looking at the score, and I'm sitting here thinking, could Louisville pull off the most boring upset of all time?
I still I do think that Louisville is on the come up. I know they're 1-4, but their team is not bad. I think in the near future they will be back to the days where they were somewhat decent. They have never really been fantastic, but I do think that they are on the rise.
Yeah, maybe somewhere near where Lamar Jackson got him.
Yeah, or I was gonna say Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, yeah. Man, those were two good eras. Um, but speaking of really good teams, we almost forgot about Kentucky, man. I want to talk about this. I don't even want to call this an upset. I'm just gonna call this straight demolition, bro. I knew Tennessee was overrated, bro.
That was a really good win. 34-7, Kentucky winning. That is a very, very good win. And honestly, Kentucky is in a bad spot because again, they are not a bad football team. They have been really, really good these past few years, even ranked at a few points, but you're not going to be able to do much in the SEC, especially if you're Kentucky. You're never going to be able to get over Alabama. You're never going to be able to get over Georgia. They're just in a really bad spot. But that win yesterday, very, very impressive. Again, they're another team that I think are on the rise, but I don't think they will ever be able to be on the status of an Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah, it sucks, and
LSU.
yeah. Yeah. That was a fallout. We're gonna leave the Tigers out of this because that was actually no. We're gonna talk about the Tigers. Let's talk about LSU in Florida. How that game got postponed and how Dan Mullen wanted to pack the swamp, and then his players got some of his players tested positive, and then he ended up testing positive. Are we seriously unaware that we are in the middle of a pandemic talking about some we want to pack the swamp full of 90,000 fans during a pandemic. Come on, Dan.
That was just that was almost embarrassing. That was kind of like karma. That I mean, that was not a good look for Florida. Not a good look.
That was absolutely bad, and I hope Dan Mullen learned his lesson because that that was stupid. That was absolutely stupid.
Yeah, I'm expecting a statement saying uh, something along the lines of "Take COVID-19 seriously."
Oh, been there, done that. I saw
Yep.
I saw the statement.
Yep. Yep.
That's what they always do. That's what they
Yep.
always do. You know,
They never learn.
and it never gets old.
Nope.
But dude, one last thing about Week 7. I am heavily, heavily disappointed in Auburn. I really did believe in Bo Nix. I mean, I like Bo. I still like Bo Nix. Cool dude. But man, this Auburn team isn't looking the same.
Yeah, it's really weird. It seems like every other year they're good. That's
Yeah.
really to me. One year they're really really good, and they're always at the top of at the top of the top 25. They are always with the top of the top schools. And then another year they lose these bad games like they did yesterday to South Carolina. It it's it's a very inconsistent program. I mean, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. You really never know.
And then Malzahn is on and off the hot seat, and it's just like, well, where is this program going?
Yeah, I it is it's tough to tell honestly because they aren't a bad team, but 2-2, they're going to be close to dropping out of the top 25.
Yeah, we might be welcoming some new teams in, including Marshall. So I mean, I'm gonna be on the lookout.
Coastal Carolina,
Yeah,
Liberty's 4-5-0.
yeah. These teams are good, and NC State. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I was gonna say UCF before they blew a
No,
21 point lead. I'm
no,
sorry.
this is terrible. Back to back games, they blew two. I mean, I'm not going to call Memphis bad, but again, that was that's a game you should win. They were up so big, and then of course kicking. You got to have a kicker if you want to win football games. You got to have a kicker. Oh, that's so disappointing. UCF is a good team, but their defense, I don't know. They like their offense so good. They are so powerful. I feel like they could go head to head with any team in college football, but that defense gives up way too many points.
Yeah, and late in the game, obviously you saw it. I mean, Memphis dropped a 50 spot on them. It was just like I'm looking at the last few drives, and I'm just like, Memphis is just racking up and down the field, and UCF was too. I mean, this man Dylan Gabriel passed for 601 yards.
Yeah,
601.
they like I said, they are a really really good offensive team. Everything about their offense is fantastic. They had early in the game they had an 80-yard touchdown. Late in the game they had a 93-yard touchdown. Their offense is explosive. Their defense really just needs to figure out something, and they get too many penalties. That was the downfall against Tulsa, and I mean we saw what happened last night. Gave up a late score, and then missed a field goal. I mean every single game besides the game against Tulsa, they have scored over 40 points, which is so impressive.
Yeah, it sucks that the defense has to fail him like that because Brady White dotted him up for 486 and 6 TDs. So, uh, I mean, both quarterbacks were lighting it up, but Dylan Gabriel, his defense just couldn't, finish, seal the deal for him, which is sad, man.
Yeah. And you want to know who else was explosive yesterday? Real quick, we have to talk about Trevor Lawrence. Oh my
Oh my goodness.
goodness. Dude, 73-7 against Georgia Tech. Oh, I literally I can't even get into his stats. 400 yards, 5 TDs. He was gaming yesterday. He was fantastic. I mean, even that first half, crazy.
Five in the first half, might I add. And that was the biggest win in ACC conference history. That was the biggest. That was I was about to say upset. It was far from an upset, Jotham. That was the biggest blowout in ACC history because that was absolute demolition, Drew. That was demolition. That this game just proves to you how far away Clemson is from from the rest of the pack. They are they're just on another level, man.
I'm really looking forward to getting the Big Ten and Pac-12 back because I want to see how these teams compare to a team like Clemson. I mean, last year Ohio State gave them a run for their money, but again, Clemson just too good. I really want to see how these teams compare once everything is back to normal.
You know what? Let's talk about this next week because obviously, we got the good stuff coming back. Plus, some other really good games in other conferences. But the Big Ten is returning. That's the big highlight of next week, and I'm really excited, dude. I really do. I'm really excited. You get Rutgers to start off.
Yeah, everyone loves Rutgers, the worst team in the Big Ten. I'm not going to complain, though. I'm really interested in seeing what Mel Tucker and this new Michigan State program looks like. After the post D'Antonio era should be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Win or lose this season, I feel like I'm just excited to see how everything turns out. Hopefully, our offense scores more than like 3 points a game. I know our defense is still going to be top tier, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited for this year. I'm interested in seeing what this new era of Michigan State football will look like.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. And obviously, I don't know what to expect with Penn State. I don't expect to beat Ohio State. Um,
Is that your first game?
no, that's the second game.
Okay,
But
okay. I
but
was I was gonna say that's a tough start.
we got Indiana. Um,
Okay,
Penn State plays Indiana, so that should be a decently easy win. But who knows?
Indiana's sneaky. They're
Yeah,
sneaky.
Indiana can be a little sneaky sometimes, so I'll watch out for that. But we're gonna. I want to make some picks, man, because we got some good games on tap. You know what? I'll put a quotation around that because the first game I'm talking about is Alabama and Tennessee. Okay,
Alabama,
yeah,
Alabama.
yeah,
Hey,
Alabama's Alabama. Quickest
this
pick
is
ever.
what we have to do this every week. Every time you put in an Alabama game, no words need to be said. Alabama. That's as simple as it gets. I still think they're close with Clemson as being the best team. I mean, their dynasty has never gone away. Last
Mhm.
year, questionable, but still, they're the same team, same Alabama. I and Tennessee lost to Kentucky. Do you really think Tennessee will put up a fight?
Not only lost to Kentucky, couldn't even put more than 7 points on the board at home against an unranked Kentucky as a ranked team. No, Tennessee doesn't stand a chance again. Well, no. Alabama next. Okay, Iowa State and Oklahoma State. Much more interesting matchup.
Dude, Oklahoma State had their game postponed last week, so this I don't know. That could either help them or not help them. Iowa State, they have been inconsistent this year, ranked, lost, have another big win over Oklahoma. This one is going to be close. Do you think they'll own the state of Oklahoma after this game?
Yeah, yeah. I think not only do I think that Oklahoma State is really good, I think they have. I think they will go to the Big 12 championship game. I really do like what I'm seeing from this team right now. After the slip up against Tulsa to start the season, I was like, eh. But Shane Illingworth and Chuba Hubbard and that Oklahoma State offense, I really do like what I'm seeing from that offense. And I'm gonna pick them to beat Iowa State, but I'm
Mm,
looking at big picture stuff, man. I really do want to see what this Cowboys team is made of. I want to see them get over the hump in Norman later on in November, but that's for another week.
yeah, I think I'll probably agree. Yeah, I do think Oklahoma State will win this game. It's going to be a pretty good game, but Iowa State is not there yet.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma State too, but let's get to the prime time game for this week on ABC. Oh wow, Michigan and Minnesota. Ooh, little brown jug.
This one, this isn't again. Every time I see Michigan in against any team, I feel like it could be an upset because they have never really been dominant. It's and Minnesota was good. They were really good last year. Man, I don't like Michigan. I Minnesota, their quarterback has a little connection to me. Their quarterback's mom was my first grade teacher, so um, With that being said, I got Minnesota. They're going to win this game. Tanner Morgan's going to go off.
Oh man, that's a big one. And you know what? This game could really go either way because obviously we don't know exactly what the 2020 editions of Michigan and Minnesota are made of. We don't exactly know what to expect from these teams, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pick Michigan. I'm sorry, Drew. I
Hey,
know
no, that's completely fine. I took the bold pick. I'm not too confident in it, but I'm taking the bold pick.
that's not even bold. This is just 50-50, bro. I'm bold for even saying Michigan because I don't know why, but I have a feeling that this is one of those seasons where they'll beat everybody except Ohio State.
Yeah, you probably are right because I don't know. Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State, I think, are the three teams to beat this year. But it's going to be close. I feel like this could either be a blowout for Michigan or a close game. That's there's no in between, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I really want Minnesota to win. I really hope I'm wrong. This is one of the cases where I hope I'm wrong because I like Minnesota more than I do Michigan, but I also like Michigan more than I do Ohio State. So, but
Mhm.
but but this in this game, I want Minnesota to win, but I think Michigan is going to just do something, just something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you know what? I'm proclaiming this to be the game of the week. Cincinnati and SMU.
dude, I like this game as well. I really do like what Cincinnati's doing. I feel like they could even make the college football playoffs this year.
If they run the table, they
Dude,
cool.
I feel like they could. I feel like they could be the Utah this year.
The Utah. Oh, that's a good comparison.
I like what I'm seeing from Cincinnati. I everything about them is really good. Obviously, they didn't play last week. This week they will beat SMU. SMU, they barely got over the Memphis hump, but nonetheless, they still did. I got Cincinnati.
This is so tough. SMU. I have been preaching about that SMU offense, and I'm like they're 5-0 for a reason. That offense has showed up. But I look at this Cincinnati team, they're ranked in the top 10 for a reason. Their defense is just stifling. Their defense is stifling. And I'm just like, yo, this Cincinnati SMU game, this could determine who plays in the AAC championship game. I really do. Because this is a really good game. Number 8 versus number 17. For now, they should be moving up because of North Carolina. But this will be a really good game. But I think I'm gonna go with SMU again, man. I really like Sam Bouchel. I really like Bouchel and Bentley and Robertson. That offense, they got it clicking, and I'm gonna pick SMU again.
Wow, I'm honestly surprised by that because I'm very confident in this pick for Cincinnati. I'm surprised by your pick.
And I'm very confident for this pick for SMU.
Hey, I like it.
Oh,
I like the little
yeah,
rivalry here. Yeah, let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. Although I lead the series, yeah, let's go.
Hey, that's all right. Like I said, I like taking the sleeper picks because you never know what can happen.
Oh, this is not a sleeper pick. This is a legit good game right here.
Yeah, hey, I'm confident.
Yeah, I'm really.
Cincinnati will beat SMU 50-0. No, I'm kidding. I know how you like. I like how you like to say, "Oh, the Braves will win. It will be a sweep." No,
Yeah, yeah. I
this,
know. I
this
know you was gonna pull that on me. I knew you was gonna pull that on me.
this one, I'm confident in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I can tell, but let's test your confidence in another echelon of football. We're gonna take it to the NFL, man. Okay, I do want to apologize to the NFL for saying that Week 5 was gonna be trash. I really do, cause it delivered. I didn't expect it, but it delivered. Patrick Mahomes didn't outduel Derek Carr. The Raiders beat the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? The Dolphins absolutely smashed the 49ers. The Giants almost beat the Cowboys by they put up 34 in Dallas. Daniel Jones and that Giants offense put up 34 in Dallas. The Vikings almost beat the Seahawks and the Chargers almost beat the Saints.
Dude,
What the heck was this week?
that was a good week. I really enjoyed, as we said last week, the game of the week, Cleveland versus the Colts. That was a really really good game. The Browns are now 4-1 for the first time since 1994. Congrats to the Browns. I like the team. I like them a lot.
Yeah, I really do. And you know what's funny? Cody Parkey doinked in that game, but he made
Dude,
it.
he made it. He made it. Ah, I like what they're doing. I'm excited for the rest of the season. As for the Cowboys versus the Giants, I feel bad for Dak. I mean
Yeah.
that was a tough injury to see. It did not look good. I'm hoping he can have a good recovery, and that was unfortunate because we were talking about how good he is and how his talent is kind of getting wasted, and then a few hours later he probably just ended the rest of the season, which is sad.
Yeah, but it looks like it's all going to be on Andy Dalton, who is a really decent. That's a decent backup to have. Andy
Yeah,
Dalton's done some things.
yeah. He took the Bengals to a few playoff games around I think six or five. In Cincinnati, very very. I wouldn't. He hasn't been great these past few years, but hey, I think it's a good backup. It's definitely better than let's say a Blake Bortles or maybe a young, inexperienced rookie. If I think the
Brandon Weed.
Cowboys, I think I think the Cowboys. I wouldn't say they should be confident, but it's better than nothing, really.
Yeah, realistically, the NFC East is or the NFC least is legitimately officially a toss up right now because it, I just don't know about that division, man. I really don't.
They're all pretty good football teams.
Oh my gosh, dude. You know what? Let's talk about football teams. Alex Smith returned.
Yeah, that was great to see. That was after maybe a career ending injury to get back on that field. It was almost, I was kind of scared watching because they were going up against the Rams. Aaron Donald, the most fierce defensive lineman. Scary, scary stuff. And I remember one of the first few snaps that Alex Smith took. Aaron Donald literally jumped on his back like a piggyback ride. I was like, oh my gosh. And then it was funny because Aaron Donald went. The mic picked him up saying this on the sideline. He said, "That boy legs strong." Oh my gosh, it's like that dude is trying to end his career. That's so bad. But Alex Smith, it was really really good seeing him back on the field.
Yeah, and he took 6 sacks, so that proves he. I mean, if he can take that, I think he'll be good. I think
Yeah,
he'll be good.
and they said he hadn't gotten hit before, or and like the last time he got hit was his injury. So he had never gotten hit in practice. So I mean, if you're getting hit constantly by Aaron Donald, hopefully that leg should hold up and he can finish out his career.
Yeah, and hey, last time Alex Smith played, I mean, he led the Washington football team to a 6-3 record. They were first in the NFC East, and they were on to something. So I mean, hey, maybe he can pick up where he left off.
Dude, hey, I've always been a believer in him. He has been a pretty good quarterback, honestly. I mean, in Kansas City, he was good. I really, really enjoyed what he's done throughout his career, and I'm happy that he's back.
Yeah, I'm really happy too. It was just such a great week of football. And I want to talk about the Sunday Nighter because I didn't see that come. I didn't see the game being that good. I did not. I honestly didn't. But you know
Yeah,
what? The Vikings were the Vikings, and Russell Wilson was cooking.
yeah. Kirk Cousins, he played pretty well, but man, you can't give the ball to Russell Wilson in the final minutes of the game. That it's most of the time going to be successful. I mean, we saw how it turned out in the Super Bowl, but that's one of the very rare or opportunities that Russell Wilson has and doesn't succeed. And um, just he just plays well, very well in the final few minutes of games, especially the final drive, the game winning drive.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just that. The 94 yards. They had to do something before they got there. They had to stop that Vikings rushing attack, which was really, really good all game long. They had to stop that rushing attack one more time. They had to prevent them from getting 1 inch. They rushed for 200 yards, Andrew, and the Vikings couldn't give one more inch.
Yeah, that can't happen. That it really can't happen. And then, like I said, you give the ball right back up to Russell Wilson. Not good.
Yeah, and people always want to talk about the analytics and stuff like that. Zimmer could have gone either way. I mean, obviously, yeah, you kick the field goal. It's a risk that you take. If you kick the field goal and you give the ball to Russell Wilson with a chance to tie, not a chance to win.
Yeah,
So, I mean, some people say, well, but he trusted his defense that if somehow that they got stopped, you can stop them from going 94 yards into the end zone, right? Well, obviously he was wrong, but you know, coaches always get criticized for taking a risk if it doesn't work out. But if it does work out
yep,
and they do win because of that, then it's all good. So
exactly.
yeah, if they would have gotten that inch, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Dude, I 100% agree.
So yeah, let's not try to demoralize and try to change the narrative because you know I mean Zimmer just did a football decision. I mean it was 1 inch. How are you not confident that you can't get 1 inch?
Dude, it's again that's something. It was honestly that's more impressive by that Seattle defense. They've always been known for their tough and durable defense, and this year it's almost been no difference. That they've been really good.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of defenses, you know it's something about the Chargers. They are one of the two teams in the league alongside the Bears who have had all their games decided by one possession.
Dude, I felt bad for the Chargers. I really like what Justin Herbert's doing. I honestly, in college, he played the Holiday Bowl against Michigan State, and what I saw from him, I was not impressed whatsoever. But seeing him now and last year making it to the Rose Bowl, winning the Rose Bowl, he has been. And this season, after taking over for Tyrod Taylor, he has been fantastic. I think his start is historic among in history amongst rookies. So he looks very promising. I think the Chargers should be happy that they selected.
Yes, they should definitely be happy. Especially, I mean, they're staying in these games with a depleted roster. No Derwin James, no Melvin Ingram, and I believe Austin Eckler is injured too. They're running back, so they're staying in these games, giving these teams up up double digits on these good teams too, a run for their money. I mean, look at the quarterbacks that Justin Herbert has had to go up against, and he actually kept up with them. He outlasted Joe Burrow in week 1. Okay. Then he kept up with Patrick Mahomes. Then he kept up with Tom Brady. And then after that, he kept up with Drew Brees. And I mean, he got beat by Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy Bridgewater's not that bad of a quarterback. Look, I mean, you just look at Justin Herbert and what he's had to, start with, you know, in his career. This is a very promising start if you're a rookie that's keeping up with proven quarterbacks like Brady and Brees and Mahomes.
Yeah. Eh, Again, he's just been very, very impressive.
Yes, and that's very very promising. Next year, I believe the Chargers will give the Chiefs a run for their money, as a healthy roster if they're healthy.
I would agree with that. I think they are in a good spot.
Yes, very. But uh, last thing before we make picks real quickly, I did not expect that demolition on Tuesday night football on CBS. What I oh boy, Derrick Henry and the Titans. They just this team. Okay, this team is for real. I'm declaring it. I am declaring it. This team is going to win the AFC South.
Dude, I was very, very disappointed in the Bills. I thought they would I especially after the Titans COVID uh, difficulties, I thought the Bills I know they are a good thing. They are a good team. I don't know what happened though. That was kind of very disappointing.
Well, they had their fair share of injuries and stuff like that, but that's not an excuse. And the Titans, they said no excuses either. They was like, we know had the COVID situation, but we're not using that as an excuse to lose to the Buffalo Bills, no matter how good they are. And they just absolutely came out there, and not only did they blow them out, they blew up the internet. Derrick Henry blew up the internet because of that Josh Norman stiff arm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that that will be on the highlight reels for a long time.
Man, he's had a couple of disrespectful stiff arms on a couple of really good defensive players. He has. I remember in the divisional round against the Ravens, he stiff armed Earl Thomas in his back plate on the numbers in the
Yeah,
back on his back, and that was
yeah,
so hilarious just to see Earl Thomas twirl around like that. And then obviously Josh Norman just got pancaked. I was, oh boy, Derrick Henry just brought the syrup in the pan and just started cooking with his stiff. Oh my gosh, that was nasty. That was nasty.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm moving on to this week because that was very unexpected. I should proclaim trash weeks more often because they proved me wrong.
Yeah. I still don't think it was the greatest week, but I'm hoping for better this week.
Yeah, okay, let's start making picks and let's pick up where we left off with the Titans. We got a rejuvenated Texans team that they're facing off against. Does Deshaun Watson pull off the upset?
Nope. I
Dang.
I honestly don't think so. Them winning last week, still, I wasn't very impressed. I mean, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Uh, I, I mean, that was a game that they should have won. If they lost that one, delete the whole team.
But you picked
But
them to lose.
I did pick them to lose. Like I said, if they lost that one, delete the entire team. That's why I picked the Jags because I don't think they're good. And this week, I don't think they're good either. I got the Titans in this one. I not a believer in the Texans. Delete the whole team.
Yeah, I got the Titans too. Although the Titans have had a couple of close calls this season, including only winning by 3 against those same Jaguars. So I mean, there's some competition left. But I will say this: even though I will not pick the Texans to win this game, it's the Titans. But if Deshaun Watson proves us wrong, then I think their season is still alive. I really do. If they can find a way to beat this Titans team, I think their season is still alive. The Texans. But if they lose, okay, back to square one.
Yeah. Nah, I'm not going to agree with that. If they win this,
Mm.
it's just. I mean, I'm again. I'm not a believer in the Texans. Other than Deshaun Watson, I don't think they're a good team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, their team is still not good, but it's good to see that they at least got a win in their first time since Bill O'Brien got fired. At least that gives them some confidence.
Yeah.
But speaking of confidence, um, I really don't know what to expect out of this Bengals Colts game. This I want to call this a trap game for the Colts, but it's not that big of a trap.
I I I'm gonna pick the Colts here. I think the Colts are a good team, but they just played against a better team last week against the Browns. The Browns are a good team. They're on a different level of the Bengals, obviously, but I I see a lot of promise in the Colts. They are a good team, and I'm going to pick them over the Bengals here today.
I hope Joe Burrow got his ice baths in because the seeing how he got knocked around by teams like the Eagles, and you know how bad they get hurt. Seeing how he got knocked around earlier in the season, this Colts defense isn't any easier at all. This is the quote unquote best defense in the league, statistically or whatever. And the Bengals offensive line has proven to not be that good of a protector of Joe Burrow. Yeah, I got Indianapolis here. Jonathan Taylor might go for 100. Um, I don't know what will happen with the passing game with the Colts with Phillip Rivers, but I mean we'll have to see because that passing game is inconsistent. The run game is really good, but I don't know. But it'll be enough to beat the Bengals.
Yeah,
And we have one of our games of the week: Falcons Vikings.
fantastic game here. I'm going to pick the Vikings. If the Vikings, based on my logic, if the Vikings almost beat the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are, I would consider them the best team in the NFL. I would hope the Vikings would be able to beat technically the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, this is a very interesting game, but you know what? I'm going to pick the Falcons here. I picked the team.
What?
I know, it sounds weird, but I'm going to pick the Falcons for the first time in I don't know how long. I'm going to pick the Atlanta Falcons to win a football game. Why? Because I picked a team last week that had absolutely no hope in them to win their first game since firing their coach. I'm going to do the same thing with the Falcons as I did with the Texans last week. I think this is the future game. No, this is not the future. You know what? As a matter of fact, I think after this season, it's time to let go of Matt Ryan. I think it's time to give up on Matt
I
Ryan.
agree. I agree.
I
But
really
with
do.
your logic there, you're saying that the Vikings and the Jaguars are on the same level. Is
Yes,
that the?
yes.
I I'm gonna be honest. I don't agree. I don't. I don't agree. I think the Vikings are better than the Jaguars. Um, that's why I 100% do. Yes. I think the Vikings have a better defense and offense than the Jaguars. I think they have a better quarterback than the Jaguars. I think all around they are a better team than the Jaguars. So, hey, I'm very shocked by your pick, but hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, well.
I told you so.
Yeah, what you'll have two Atlanta L's to hang on my head in span of 6 hours. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna pick the Falcons because why not? Or
Hey, I can't be mad at that. I respect that.
yeah, I will not pick the Broncos over the Patriots though. I will pick New England to win the game against the Broncos. If they don't, then they're screwed. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take the Patriots as well. But those COVID concerns, again, are very worrying for the Patriots. But even with all that being said, I think they will beat the Broncos.
yeah, that should be an easy one, but this is actually somewhat of a tough game to pick, and in some ways, it's actually a big game. The Washington football team and the New York Giants.
I don't even know who to pick in this one. Both teams terrible, but the Giants did not play bad last week against the Cowboys. They really didn't. Uh, the football team, they haven't played well since week one. Especially with the mix up of quarterbacks, I am going to take the Giants to win their first game.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and agree. Somewhat. I was 49% Washington, 51% New York Giants. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Giants, even though they're still winless, and at least the Washington football team has won. But this, oh boy, this is. I'm rooting
50-50.
for Washington. I'm rooting for Washington
Oh
because
yeah,
I
me
want
too.
to
Me
see the
too.
Washington football team to go ahead and steal this division.
Yeah, me too. I want them to win as well. I just don't see it today.
Yeah, yeah. Go Daniel Jones. Oh my
And
god.
whoever else is on that team, Golden Tate.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, let's stay on track with the NFC least. We got a couple of big birds going up at it. The Ravens and the Eagles.
Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens.
No, nothing needs to be said there. I'm gonna leave it there. Ravens.
Yeah. If the Eagles want to win this game, they're gonna have to have Robin as your wide. You're gonna have to have Robin as your running back. You know what I'm saying? Starfire as your tight end or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Cyborg as your offensive line. Something like that. Because you're gonna need some Titans. You're gonna need some Teen Titans to try to beat the Ravens. Um, yeah, you're not stopping. They're not stopping Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen.
Mm-mm.
But let's get into a more interesting AFC North matchup. Okay, Brown Steelers. This is a big game.
It's a very good game, and this is the first game that the Steelers will have some competition. Really, this is
Yeah,
the first. This is the first game where they will be tested. The Browns have looked very, very good. They have on all parts. After their first loss against the Ravens, they have been very, very good. The Steelers, we haven't seen them tested. This will be the first game where they may have to rely on someone else other than their wide receivers. They will have to get the run game going. This is going to be a big, big game for Myles Garrett. This is going to Baker Mayfield hasn't played in many big games. This may be his first big game. I'm hoping the Browns can take it. I think they will, and I'm going to take the Browns. This is going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it.
Agreed. I'm taking the Browns too. Look, I am not a believer in the Steelers. And remember on one of my story time specials, I made a bet in 2018 about the Steelers not making the playoffs, even though they had the killer bees. Remember that
Uh,
time?
I did. What are you foreshadowing here?
I'm foreshadowing that this Steelers team, even though they look really good, you can't trust them just yet. I don't trust them.
Mm,
They've had no
mm,
competition yet. Yeah, you beat the Eagles, but who else hasn't beaten the Eagles? You know, that they're well, I mean, hey, the 49ers, you can say, well, the 49ers were supposed to beat them, but they were depleted. They were the 29ers. Um, I'm not a believer. The Broncos took them close. The Broncos, had a close game against them. The Eagles kept it close too. The Eagles almost came back and won that game. They very well could have. I'm not a believer in the Steelers. I got the Browns, and I don't think it's going to be as close as we think it will be.
wow. Hey, I like that. I'm excited in watching the Browns, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, speaking of exciting games, let me talk about this Bears Panthers game real quick.
Uh,
Hmm.
I was kind of impressed over the win against the Bucks, but I don't. This is gonna be close too. I'm gonna have to say the Bears. I don't think they're 4-1. I still don't think they are a good team because they're not. Sorry, Jotham, but they're not a good team in my opinion. Uh they again. Uh, this is this is weird. I'm gonna take the Bears, but the Panthers really haven't shown me much, honestly.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on both ends. I think the Bears can be, can be for real, but I don't think they're going to win this game. I'm actually going to take the Carolina Panthers. I am actually not going to pick the Bears for the first time all season.
Yeah, you pick the Bears every single game, and they only lost to the Colts, and now you're gonna take the Panthers, and you're gonna go against your word of taking them
Yeah,
this week. That's I'm shocked.
look, I think this Carolina team, I mean, what they've done without Christian McCaffrey has really kind of opened my eyes. They've won three in a row. It looked like their season was over after 2 weeks. Christian McCaffrey got injured, lost to the Raiders, lost, blah 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 blah. But they came back out, got their first win against the Chargers. Then they beat a really good Cardinals team. Got to warm up against the Falcons. This is their real test right here against that Bears defense, and it could go either way. But this is a coin flip, and I think it's gonna go with. I think it's gonna go the Panthers side. I think the Bears are gonna have one of those games where they just they just blow it.
Wow, I'm kind of shocked of hearing you say all those words about your team. I'm on. I wow, I'm shocked.
You you just said they weren't for real.
No, they aren't. But your confidence was glowing. Your confidence was so. Your ego about your team was so big. You're like, oh, this team, they're gonna beat the Bucks. They beat the Bucks, and then you
Yeah.
pick them every single week, and then this is the week you don't. I'm so surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really about the Bears. It's just about the opponent. I'm
I
starting to believe in the Panthers.
You think the Panthers are better than the Bucks?
I think they might win the NFC South if they can keep this going.
I'm shocked by you saying that the Panthers. You by you saying the Panthers are better than the Bucks, and that the Jaguars are better than the Vikings. I'm lost for words this week.
At full strength. I mean, when Christian McCaffrey comes back, it might be over. I mean, they're doing this stuff with Mike Davis as a running back, and Mike Davis isn't bad, but Christian McCaffrey is like what 70% of their offense, and they're winning games without him. So when Christian McCaffrey comes back, if they keep playing like this, what's gonna happen? And the Saints and the Bucks aren't getting any better anytime soon. So something's got to happen.
Uh, I'm lost for words. I'm shocked, dude. The Bears aren't good. The Panthers aren't good. I just think the Panthers are worse.
Wow. Okay. Well, we can talk about this all day, but we'll do it off air because I do have some more words for you. But I'm going to move on to your team now. Um,
Oh, I got the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Dude, the Lions are good. And hey, last time I picked the team opposing the Lions. The Lions won, so maybe I'll get lucky this week. I got the Jaguars. For what reason? The Lions' defense is terrible. It's the worst I've ever seen. If the Lions lose this game, like I said, if they lose the game, almost every week I've said if they lose the game, they should fire Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. Same applies to this week. If they lose this game against the Jaguars, fire Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. The Lions are not good. Their defense is not good. Offense, it's not. It's the only thing keeping them in games.
Yeah, I agree. And this game could go either way. One team can look like the team that they're clearly identified as, and the other can pop out and say, "Hold on, wait a minute. This is one of the games where we show that we can be a good football team and we can move in the right direction." I feel like this is one of those games, but the Jaguars are going to be the ones on top, at least in my eyes. Um, I'm sorry, Drew. I just don't know when the Lions will win. It comes so unexpectedly.
Yep, that's the Lions motto. Same
Yeah,
old Lions. Hashtag same old Lions.
yeah. Speaking of same old Jets, same old Jets. What a tumultuous week. Here's that word again. Bad week for the Jets, man. Let Le'Veon Bell go for absolutely nothing. Then he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, who is going to be Le'Veon Bell's first opponent as a Chief. And now you got to go face the Miami Dolphins, who just blew the roof off of the San Francisco 49ers. No, the Jets
I
don't
got
win
the
this game.
Dolphins. I got the
Yep, there you go.
Dolphins. I got the Dolphins.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, I got the Dolphins too. I mean, they might as well go 500. They might as well bump it up to 500 because this Jets team sucks. They suck. I mean, it's so bad. Talking about some brilliant offensive. Adam Gase shouldn't have even been hired. Shouldn't have even been hired by the Jets. What were they thinking?
They weren't.
Right. They weren't thinking, dude. This is like I'm like, dude, I was so mad when they hired this man. I was so mad, bro. It was so oh my gosh. I'm thinking, what is Adam Gase gonna do? Did you not see what he did with Ryan Tannehill? When Ryan Tannehill left Miami, he took the Titans to the AFC Championship game, bro. What did
Yeah.
you think, bro? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, dude. Yeah, Adam Gase. I think he's the next one up. I think he's next up. If the Jets let this man complete the season, they are a fool. They are fools, master clowns, organizational dumpsters. It is terrible.
Sell the organization.
Yes, please, because the organization is bad. Let me take the helm for $1. I'll make the Jets great again.
I vouch. I vouch.
Jeez, man. Okay, let me get to a better game, which is America's true game of the week. Packers Buccaneers.
I'm gonna take the Packers. The Bucks, they lost to the Bears, which makes them bad.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, I know Tom Brady lost count of the downs, but dang, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna
uh,
take the Packers. Just look really good this year.
unfortunately, I'm gonna have to agree. I got the Packers too. That offense has looked really good. It seems like when Aaron Rodgers when they say he's gonna have a down year, that's a career year. Because
Yeah.
we're all thinking, oh, he's gonna be rattled by the Jordan Love acquisition. He's gonna be rattled. This offense is gonna stink. They're gonna be the same old Packers. Well, I don't know about that one, Chief. They're off to a really good start. They've beaten some decent teams, and this Bucks team hasn't been hot. They're not exactly healthy. They need Chris Godwin back, man. They need him back because
Yeah.
they need to get healthy. They just have to, and they just have to for the sake of this game and for the rest of the division. They got to get healthy.
I agree.
But speaking of health, you can't really say much about the 49ers, man. They still have the Sunday night football game against the Rams tonight, which I'm obviously taking the Rams because I mean the Rams are hot right now. Um, it's I mean the 49ers just lost to the Eagles a couple weeks ago on the same stage. So And are the Rams worse than the Eagles? No. Rams.
I like what the Rams are doing this year. They look really good. They look like they were when they made the Super Bowl. So I like the Rams.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see, you know, how this game goes. Cause this could be another one of those sleeper games. But I learned my lesson from last week's Sunday Night Football game. So who knows? But let's move to Monday. I said last week that the Bills were going to beat the Chiefs. I'm going to keep my word. I'm going to
Wow.
keep my word.
And I'm going to keep mine. Never bet against Patrick Mahomes. I know he lost, but again, never bet against him.
When's the last time he lost two in a row, though?
I couldn't tell you, and I don't. I unfortunately I like the Bills a lot, but I if they lost to the Titans like that, you only can imagine what's going to happen against the Chiefs.
Yeah, yeah, it's not looking good. At least it's back in Buffalo, and at least Le'Veon Bell's not on the field just yet. But man, I hope the Bills get healthier because they obviously missed their key players in that loss against the Titans. I really hope they do get healthy. But I'm gonna stick. I said it. I was gonna beat. I said the Bills. I'm just gonna keep rolling with the Bills. I'm gonna keep rolling. I'm not confident at all, but I'll just keep rolling with it.
Nice.
But this is a toss up. This the real Monday Night Football game. Cardinals Cowboys. This is a toss up.
Another game that's not good that is on national television. I'm going to pick the Cardinals. The loss of Dak Prescott for the Cowboys is going to be huge, and I think the Cardinals will be able to take this one easily.
This might be the most disagreements we've had in a week. I'm gonna pick the Dallas Cowboys. Look, their defense is atrocious. You know what? No. Scratch that. I'm going to pick the Cardinals. I just remembered their defense is absolutely garbage, and I do not know if Andy Dalton can keep up with Arizona for a full game. I am not certain. I am not confident. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I'm going to pick the Cardinals. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, I'm picking the Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals. That is my pick, Drew. Final pick.
So, take away the disagreement.
Yeah, I take away the disagreement.
All right.
Whew. Oh my gosh, I was flipping my words on that one. Oh boy. But we got one more game on the schedule, and it's yet another NFC League showdown in primetime television. I don't know why the NFL schedules these games, but we're gonna have Giants Eagles on Thursday Night Football. Yay!
Oh, nice. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is great. I'm gonna pick the Eagles though. I don't think there's any words behind it. The Giants are not good. I know we predicted them to win this week, but they will not win next week.
Yeah, I got the Eagles too, just because it's in Philadelphia. Just because it's in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Well, this should be very interesting. This could be a swing week for our little prediction rivalry because we got some things, got a lot of disagreements in this
Dude,
episode.
it got a little heated almost. I
Yeah,
like it though. I like it though. That's what you need in a good prediction rivalry. Any show you watch on ESPN, there's got to be some heated arguments, and I like that.
yeah, and this is legit too. So it's not like we're doing it for the sake of the audience. It's just
No, this is
this
I
is
no.
honest belief.
Hey, I'm confident in my picks. I know you are with yours. Hey, I like it.
I like it too, man. But I want to move on to one last little topic. I know the NBA season is over and the Lakers already won the championship, but I want to talk about the coaching carousel that's happened so far. What have been your thoughts so far? I mean, we've seen Steve Nash to the Nets, Doc Rivers to Philly, Billy Donovan to Chicago, which I think is a really good move, and then Ty Lue, stays a Clipper.
Yeah,
Um,
and Chauncey as his assistant head coach, which I like that a lot. Chauncey Billups, fantastic Piston, great in my opinion. I think we'll have to see what happens with that Ty Lue pick. I don't know if he is the right decision for the Clippers. I really don't because sure he won the championship in Cleveland, but he had LeBron on his team. I think that's a big difference. LeBron versus a Kawhi and PG. I think The chemistry needs to be perfect, which the chemistry in LA has never been perfect for the Clippers. Never it is. They've always had some locker room problems. I think if they can fix the chemistry in the locker room for LA, I think the Clippers will be able to advance past the second round. But if things stay the same, it's going to be another long road for the Clippers and their struggles.
Yeah, I see it, man. But I mean, Ty Lue, I like the hire. I like the hire. I'm not saying it will be an immediately successful hire, but I like the hire. Um, I just the Clippers they need to just ditch the whole load management BS because that they were preaching about how chemistry was a bit of an issue. Kawhi's got to put that load management BS behind him because that is not how you build team chemistry. You can say, oh, we'll cruise the regular season and we'll just turn it up in the playoffs. No, this it's not that simple. And people like to say LeBron did it in his some of his years with the Cavs, but LeBron is LeBron. So I mean that's a bit of a bit of a cushion. But with Kawhi and PG, Kawhi he's never been that big of a leader, like the voice of a team. You know him for being kind of like more of the more quiet guy. He's not, the most vocal person in the world.
Yeah,
So he's not going to raise his voice, in aspects like that. I don't know if Paul George is going to do that either, because he hasn't been the best player on his team since he was in Indiana. Um, yeah, that's I mean, statistically, that one MVP campaign he had in OKC, okay, but that was still Russell Westbrook's team.
yeah,
Um, and even now, they proclaim that this is Kawhi's team with Paul George. Um, so yeah, but the Clippers they had better get the chemistry going because the Lakers aren't they don't look like they're gonna just you know back down and they're gonna look for number 18. So they had better get it going. Um, that just tough. I really do want to see the Clippers beat the Lakers for once. For once.
yeah. I think everyone does.
But man, that team took so much heat this season. So these playoffs especially. I mean, how many pandemic P playoff P memes did you see after they blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets? It was so much trash talk going on, dude.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch.
Yeah, and it was just a nightmare postseason for the Clippers organization. Just nightmare, absolute nightmare. Um, but with this coaching carousel, things will get really interesting. With the draft coming up and stuff like that. So I mean, we'll just have to wait and see stuff. I mean, this is just the beginning of the off season. So I mean, we'll just have to sit back and wait. But I do recall you asking me a trivia question, asking us a trivia question about what was it? Was it the MLB?
Yeah, it was the MLB All Star Game. When was the last time the MLB All Star Game was canceled? If you this one, it shouldn't be a surprise.
It's got to be one of the like one of those wars, right?
You were very, very correct. World War II was the last time the MLB did not have an All Star game, which honestly is not surprising because if you know your baseball history, a lot of our MLB greats actually were fighting in that war. Like Lou Gehrig and a lot of Yankees players went off to Europe to fight, and so they had no players. So if you know your history, MLB history, it shouldn't come as a surprise.
Yeah, you feel like it would take a war or some crazy American historic event to stop sports from occurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very interesting. That's a good history. That was a good history question.
Mm.
But my trivia question is more about what's going on now. That sounds pretty interesting, but I'm going to ask this. So we obviously know there are 9 innings in a baseball game, and we have had what only one or two extra inning games, maybe just one that Braves Reds one. But that's besides the point. My question is, which inning has produced the most runs so far in this MLB postseason?
I'm gonna guess the seventh inning.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
I'm
would
gonna
think.
actually no. I'm gonna say the first inning.
You really think the Dodgers really boosted that one up, didn't you?
No, even the Astros. The Astros had a lot of early inning success. I'm gonna say the first inning.
Hmm. Interesting. I'll definitely soup up that answer for you next week. But yeah, once again, question is which inning has produced the most runs so far in the MLB postseason? And for the sake of the timing in the World Series, we're gonna just stick to the wild card round, the division series, and the LCS. No World Series.
Okay.
So yeah, we're only gonna go through the first three rounds for that question, just to be specific. But Drew, we talked about quite a bit. Got a little heated too.
Dude, I like it. Hey, that's what you need in an argumentative based sports podcast. I like it.
Yeah, I really do too. And you know what? I've enjoyed some of the salt because, especially from the bulk of those Astros fans. Yeah, yikes! What a roller coaster that was.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Good luck, Houston.
Yeah, that would have been so. People would have been so mad if it was another Dodgers Astros World Series. Oh my goodness, that would have been a riot.
Yeah. I I told you this off air, but I would not have watched the World Series.
Oh man, I would have had like it would have been awesome, but it would have been so just wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
Just would not have a good feeling. But same time next week.
Yes, sir. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any other streaming device. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias at Top of the Standings on Twitter and at Top of the Standings on Instagram and Facebook. This has been Top of the Standings. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. And we'll see you guys next week. And we'll see you guys next week. And we'll see you guys next week.